Good afternoon. Welcome to our afternoon service at Heritage Hills Baptist Church. We've already went over the announcements a couple of times today, and I'm sure Cassie will send out the email with them in it, so you'll have that as you need it. Mason, would you lead us in a word of prayer for our service? Amen. If you'd stand with me, we'll sing Majesty number 296, Be Still My Soul.
Be still my soul, the Lord is on thy side. Bear patiently the cross of grief or pain. Leave to thy God to order and provide. In every change he faithful will remain. Be still my soul, thy best, thy heavenly friend, through thorny ways leads to a joyful end. Be still my soul, thy God doth undertake to guide the future as he has the past. Thy hope, thy confidence, let nothing shake. All now mysterious shall be bright at last. Be still my soul, the waves and winds still know his voice who ruled them while he dwelt below. Be still my soul, the hour is hastening on, when we shall be forever with the Lord. When disappointment, grief, and fear are gone, sorrow forgot, love's purest joys restored. Be still my soul, when change and tears are past, all safe and blessed we shall meet at last.
Our second song is number 303, Wings as Eagles.
When the race still lies before me, and the wind is blowing strong, when the witnesses around me, and my strength is almost gone, when the valley plunges deeper, and life shatters all my dreams, then I lift my voice to Jesus, and he gives my spirit wings. God give wings as eagles. God gives wings to fly and strength to rise above. God gives wings as eagles. When my feet begin to stumble and my dreams begin to crumble, I mount upon eagle's wings. Let us run the race with patience. Let us lay each weight aside, looking only unto Jesus. He will be our faithful guide. For us, he has won the victor's crown, and he calls to every Christian Follow me to higher ground. God gives wings as eagles. God gives wings to fly and strength to rise above. God gives wings as eagles. Began to stumble, and my dreams began to crumble. I mount up on eagle's wings. I mount up on eagle's wings.
Remain standing for our Spanish song.
Hola, buenas tardes. Dios nos envió a su Hijo Cristo, Él es amor, paz y perdón. Por mí murió en el Calvario, mas de la tumba con poder resucitó. Porque Él vive, no temo al mañana, porque Él vive, seguro estoy, porque yo sé que el futuro es suyo y que la vida vale porque Él vive hoy. Grato es tener a un tierno niño, precioso don que Dios nos da. Cuánto mejor cuando recibe al Salvador y vida eterna gozará. Porque Él vive, no temo al mañana, porque Él vive, seguro estoy, porque yo sé que el futuro es suyo y que la vida vale porque Él vive hoy. Se acabará mi vida un día, enfrentaré muerte y dolor, mas a Jesús veré en la gloria y reinaré con mi triunfante Salvador. Porque Él vive, no temo al mañana, porque Él vive, seguro estoy, porque yo sé que el futuro es suyo y que la vida vale porque Él vive hoy. ¿Pueden sentarse?
All right, well, we'll continue our examination of the man Joab. It is on. All right, oh, there we go. Consequences of David's sin. And David's half-hearted forgiveness. So as we kind of saw last week, Joab goes to David. They have the exchange, and David finally allows for Absalom to come back home to Jerusalem. And then the last little thing is he comes back as he doesn't see Absalom. He never speaks to him. They never settle anything. And so I'd kind of put it down as just a half-hearted forgiveness. And now we come to the resolution of that situation, picking up here in 29. It says, therefore Absalom sent for Joab to have sent him to the king, but he would not come to him. And when he sent again the second time, he would not come. Therefore he said unto his servants, see, Joab's field is near mine, and he hath barley there. Go and set it on fire. And Absalom's servant set the field on fire. Then Joab arose and came to Absalom unto his house, and said unto him, wherefore have thy servants set my field on fire? And Absalom answered Joab, behold, I sent unto thee, saying, come hither, that I may send thee to the king, to say, wherefore am I come from Geshur? It had been good for me to have been there still. Now therefore let me see the king's face, and if there be any iniquity in me, let him kill me. So Joab came to the king and told him, and when he had called for Absalom, he came to the king and bowed himself on his face to the ground before the king, and the king kissed Absalom. So we see an interesting thing in the way that's played out. And Absalom has a little bit of a misunderstanding in the fact that Joab besought David to have Absalom brought home. You know, they were cousins. So Absalom was under this thing that, like, hey, he's working on my behalf to get me back here. But the motivation of Joab was, and almost always is, he is loyal to David. He didn't. Cousin, maybe you don't understand. This was not about you coming home. This is about what was best for my lord the king. Like, you're here now. He didn't want to see you. He was done with this. So I don't know. There's some confusion, Abby, or whatever Joab called him, about our relationship. Yeah, I know that you sent for me. That's why. Did you not get my message? I didn't come see you. Right? So then he finally comes. He's like, so what are you thinking setting my field on fire? Like, I'm not above killing you. It's my thing. So after this has happened, he says something to David. Finally, Absalom gets this audience. He has this moment. David forgives him finally, and we have this reconciliation. And then Absalom takes this opportunity and runs wild. And so, kind of summarizing, because it's like 3 chapters, Absalom immediately, he gets these 50 chariots that go before him, and he places himself in the gate of the city. Now, David has been king for a while. He's incredibly busy. The kingdom is growing. The other thing to be mindful of is now we're on the pursuit of him gathering all the supplies to rebuild the temple that he's not allowed to build. So Jerusalem is growing. There's this beautification of the city. He's putting all these things in place to where we are going to build a house for the Lord. And Absalom takes this opportunity. I'm going to place myself in the gate. I'm going to put these men in front of me. And now as people come, whoever it is, and they have this problem, oh, the king can't see you. Here, I will deal with the problem. He's being a politician, right? Okay, the king doesn't hear you, but I hear you. And he begins to slowly steal the hearts of all the 10 tribes by dealing with their problems. The king's not here, I've got you. Remember who cared for the problem that you have. And Absalom begins to do this thing. And then he goes to David, and he tricks his father and says, hey, when I was in exile in Geshur, I'd made this vow to the Lord that when you brought me home, I would go to Hebron and offer sacrifices for the goodness that the Lord showed me. Now, David was a man after God's own heart. It was, speculation, sanctified imagination. David's like, finally, the boy's starting to get it. Go and offer your sacrifices, son. Like yes, your love for the Lord is what's going to carry you through. Go and offer these sacrifices, please. Pay the vow that you made. So he goes to Hebron. He's got the 50 chariots with him. He offers the sacrifice, and now he's already been winning the hearts and minds. Now he presents himself that he's this co-regent along with David.
and we have this outbreak of this rebellion. And so now he's gathered people together to him. He's had this false anointing in Hebron to where he's now king, and word travels back to David to where all the people are hailing Absalom as king. Now David, being a wise leader and a good military man, he knows we have no idea who we can trust. And furthermore, Absalom has one very key figure with him. He has Ahithophel, the grandfather of Bathsheba, with him, who the Bible says, right, that none of his words fall to the ground. His counsel is sound. And he's like, oh man, we are in trouble. We got to get out of town. So David sets it up where he's like, all right, we're going to take all the mercenaries with us. We're going to take the immediate family. We're going to leave 10 concubines behind to kind of care for the house. And we've got to get out of Jerusalem. We're not going to fight this battle here in the city. We have got to get out of town. So David makes his flight from Jerusalem, and then things really start to get bad as he makes the flight, I feel like. Now, one of the things, Zadok the priest comes with him, and they bring the Ark of the Covenant with them, which we have this interesting point where David sends the Ark of the Covenant back, because David understands that whether they have the Ark or not doesn't really matter. If God's with them, God's with them. The Ark is not a lucky charm. We see that very much in the beginning of 1 Samuel. He's like, send that thing back. It's not mine. It's the Ark of the Covenant. It's not the Ark of David. Send it back. We're not taking it with us. So they send the Ark back, and they go on the run from Jerusalem. And then we have a couple of different things that happen. So we have Ziba, who is the servant of Mephibosheth, who is Jonathan's son, who David had showed great kindness to. So Ziba comes out and meets him, and he's like, where's Mephibosheth, right? He's the crippled grandson of King Saul, and he says, oh, he thinks he's going to get the entire kingdom restored to him now, right? And so David, he makes the proclamation. He's like, well, we're going to remove his stipend, basically. We're going to pull back what we're giving him. He makes the comment in the moment to Ziba. And as you look at this flight for David, it's the classic when it rains, it pours type of situation. He's got this rebellion in his own house. He has no idea who's left around him, who he can trust. And now you have this person who he showed great kindness to in Mephibosheth because he loved Jonathan so much. And now he's catching word. He's like, no, this guy, he's siding with Absalom. He's going against you. He doesn't care any of the kindnesses that you've showed him. And it's just kind of blow against blow on David as he makes this run. And then you have these curses from this guy Shimei, who's also a descendant of Saul. And so when we come to verse 6 in chapter 16, it says, and he cast stones at David and at all the servants of the king David, and all the people and all the mighty men were on his right hand and on his left. So he's already making this kind of run for his life, and here comes this guy Shimei, and he just starts cursing David, throwing rocks at him, throwing dirt. Okay, and thus says Shimei when he cursed, come out, thou bloody man, and thou man of Belial. Right, he does, you're finally going to get paid back for all the things you did to Saul. Your day has come. He's like, man, this is a bad day. This is not a good day. And then Abishai, right, Joab's possible older brother, I already kind of speculate on that, not entirely sure, but his brother nonetheless. Then said Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, unto the king, why should this dead dog curse my lord the king? Let me go over, I pray thee, and take off his head. He's like, look, we're dealing with a lot, David. What if I were just to go cut this guy's head off? Right? That would, heads apart from bodies, they don't talk. Right? Let's just go silence this guy right now. Because the mighty men, all the mercenaries, they realize we're at war. We're not going to put up with this. Like, this is not what we're doing. We're not having rocks thrown at us. We can just kill this guy. Okay? And that's normally Abishai's procedure for dealing with problems, right? When they found Saul sleeping, he goes, hey, you say the word, and I only got one blow, I'll kill him. I'll stick him straight to the ground. This will be over with. But it's interesting. The king said, what have I to do with ye sons of Zeruiah? So let him curse, because the Lord hath said unto him, curse David. Who shall then say, wherefore hast thou done so? So David, he's like, man, the Lord's allowing him to curse me. I'm a bloody man. He's not really saying anything that's not true. I didn't personally kill Saul. I refuse to let any of y'all kill him. But the Lord's allowing him to speak. Let him speak. This is not what we're doing today. So Absalom comes into the city of Jerusalem. It's been vacated, and he comes in, and the first counsel of Ahithophel is to Absalom, you need to put a tent on the roof, and you need to go lie with the 10 concubines that are left behind. It will cement your claim to the throne, and everyone will know. And it will complete the prophecy that Nathan gave him, that someone is going to lie with your wives, and it's going to happen publicly, even though you did this thing in secret. And so Absalom goes and does this thing. And so now we have this battle between the council of Ahithophel and a guy named Hushai. So they realize that they need a spy, and so they send back a counselor by the name of Hushai back to Jerusalem to try to counterfeit all the counsel that Ahithophel is going to give. And Ahithophel tells Absalom, he goes, hey, we got David on the ropes. Give me some soldiers, and I'm heading out of town right now, and we're going to stomp out David this very second. If you give him a second to breathe, he's going to get it together, he's going to get resupplied, and you're going to have a terrible fight on your hands, and there is no way that you are going to dethrone this man. Let me go now and kill him and deal with this immediately, and it'll be done. Give me the troops, and it's over with. Now Hushai comes in, and he appeals to Absalom. Now, you also have the Lord working. He says, no, that's not what we should do. He's like, David is not going to go down easily. He's like a wounded animal. He is incredibly dangerous. You know what we need to do? We need to build a big army that can't lose. Right? And not only that, Absalom, but you need to go out into the battle with them. And Absalom's like, yeah, I need to go out into the battle with them. He's like, you need to be there, and you need to lead these troops, and then everyone will see you be victorious over your father. So he asked the other elders in Israel, and they're like, man, that sounds good. I like the pageantry. That's going to be awesome. Everyone's going to see that you're the man, Absalom. That's how we need to handle things. And so because the Lord wasn't done with David, it wasn't like they were just incredibly clever. The Lord's hand is in this whole situation. The counsel of Hushai wins out. And Ahithophel, upon hearing that they're not going to listen, he doesn't argue, he doesn't put up a fight, he doesn't sit there and tell them how young and stupid they are. He just simply goes home and what? Hangs himself. He said, well, it's done. Came close, but this is over. Y'all are later, boys. I'm grabbing my toys and I'm going to the house. So David gets to Manaheim, which was the fortress that Ishbosheth built. So he gets there, he gets resupplied, he gets gifts, food, they get everything in order, they get some rest, and now the battle is set. So Absalom takes off with his people, and they head to the forest here in Ephraim, and this is where it's all going to take place. So David looks at all the troops, and he divides everyone up into 3 groups. He says, all right, we're going to send a third of the people with you, Abishai, and we're going to send a third of the people with you, Joab, and we're going to send a third of the troops with you, Ittai the Gittite. And I will lead us into this battle, and we will deal with this insurrection. And these 3 generals go, okay, but we got one little snag here, David. You're not going with us, buddy. Which, the contrast between the foolishness and arrogance of Absalom and the wisdom of David is drastic. Because they go, David, like, they don't have to kill all of us to win. They just have to kill you, and it's over. So you going with us would be silly. You need to stay back. Mind you, they already tricked Absalom, like, you need to be there. He goes, don't go with us. We've got this. And then he gives this one last standing order to the troops. And he says, show kindness unto the son Absalom. So that brings us to 18. It says, "And David numbered the people that were with him, and set captains of thousands and captains of hundreds over them. And David sent forth a third part of the people under the hand of Joab, and a third part under the hand of Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, Joab's brother, and a third part under the hand of Ittai the Gittite. And the king said unto the people, I will surely go forth with you myself also. But the people answered, Thou shalt not go forth, for if we flee away, they will not care for us, neither if half of us die will they care for us. But now thou art worth 10,000 of us. Therefore now it is better that thou secure us out of the city. And the king said unto him, What seemeth you best, I will do. And the king stood by the gate side, and all the people came out by hundreds and by thousands. And the king commanded Joab and Abishai and Ittai, saying, Deal gently for my sake with the young men, even with Absalom. And all the people heard when the king gave all the captains charge concerning Absalom. There was no question. He said, Don't kill him. Don't kill Absalom. And so, as I've been studying this, the realization I've come to with David is he has been hoping against hope in all of these situations. Because what was he told? You're going to lose 4 sons. Now, he lost the first kid with Bathsheba. And then Amnon raped his sister, and he didn't do anything about it. He made no decision. And then Absalom killed Amnon. And he did nothing about it. He made no decision. Later on, when he's on his deathbed, they're like, who's going to be king? He what? He wants to make no decision because he realizes the choices he's going to make, they're going to kill somebody. It's going to kill a kid. It's already been stated, I'm losing 4 sons. So when it comes, it's almost like the idea that indecision is better than a decision. If I don't do anything, maybe nothing will happen. And so he's not making any choices. So he tells them, spare Absalom. So the people went out into the field against Israel, and the battle was in the wood of Ephraim, where the people of Israel were slain before the servants of David, and there was a great slaughter the day of 20,000 men. So they are just laying waste. For the battle was scattered over the face of all the country, and the wood devoured more people that day than the sword devoured. The terrain was wreaking havoc on them. The terrain was killing more than the sword killed in the day of this battle. This is not a good situation. So now we come to the slaying of Absalom. Now, when it starts off with the story of Absalom, it goes to the whole fact that he would cut his hair once a year and he would weigh it, which seems kind of absurd to us. You're like, that's the craziest thing ever. When he would cut his hair once a year and then he would put it on a scale and weigh how much it weighs. Right? That's because Abby didn't have an Instagram, right? He couldn't cut his hair and be like, look, short hair don't care. Okay? So he had to do something, right? But that's, before we're too harsh about the vanity of Absalom, right? I'm sure we could do a deep dive into some people's social media and find y'all's new haircuts, right? That's just a joke. Trying to keep it lighthearted. I don't think you're like Absalom if you take a picture of your new haircut. So then verse 9, it says that Absalom met the servants of David, and Absalom rode upon a mule, and the mule went under the thick boughs of a great oak, and his head caught hold of the oak, and he was taken up between heaven and earth, and the mule that was under him went away. Right? So this is just quite the pickle that he finds himself in. So whether it's like, whether his hair gets caught in it because he didn't tie his hair back, right? OSHA was going to get all over Absalom. So whether his hair wasn't tied back or like he got his neck caught in the fork of a tree, but anyway, he's just hanging there under the earth, and then to add insult to injury, the mule that he was riding walks away, and then he's just hanging there completely helpless. And a certain man saw it and told Joab and said, Behold, I saw Absalom hanged in an oak. And Joab said unto the man that told him, And behold, thou sawest him? Why didst thou smite him there to the ground? So why didn't you kill him? That's kind of Joab's question. He said, and I would have given thee 10 shekels of silver and a girdle. And the man said unto Joab, though I should receive 1,000 shekels of silver in my hand, yet I would not put forth my hand against the king's son. For on our hearing the king charged thee, and Abishai, and Ittai, saying, beware that none touch the young man Absalom, otherwise I would have wrought falsehood against my own life. For there is no matter hid from the king, and thou thyself wouldst have set thyself against me. He's like, why didn't you kill him? He's like, well, I was standing there when he told us not to kill him. So that's why I didn't kill him? Then said Joab, I may not tarry thus with thee. And he took 3 darts in his hand and thrust them through the heart of Absalom while he was yet alive in the midst of the oak. Joab goes, I got this. Field setter on fire. Rebel against the king. This will not float. And he kills Absalom. And the 10 young men that bear Joab's armor, right? His own little guard, his own battalion of troops, they helped smite him and slew him. And Joab blew the trumpet, and the people returned from pursuing after Israel, for Joab held back the people. Not only did they kill him, right? They throw him into a great pit in the wood, and laid a very great heap of stones upon him, and all Israel fled, every one to his tent. So they throw him in a pit in the woods of Ephraim, pile stones on top of him, symbolizing what? Like he had been stoned, like you did to a rebellious child. And everyone goes, all right, well, that's over with, right? And everyone takes off. And the king was much moved, and went up to the, jumped ahead a little bit. So they all disperse. You have this thing with the messengers coming back, and then David finally receives the word about his son being dead. Because Joab knew how he was going to deal with the rebel from the very jump of this thing going down. Because like I said, his loyalty was not to Absalom. It wasn't like, man, we really need to get my cousin back home. What? His loyalty is to the king, and to the king only. So you have this thing with the messengers, and David finally gets the whole word of what happened. And then in verse 33, and the king was much moved after he hears the word, and went up to the chamber over the gate and wept. And as he went, thus he said, O my son Absalom, my son Absalom, would God I had died for thee, O Absalom, my son, my son. Because whereas Joab was the instrument used that day to kill Absalom, this moaning of David is the understanding that I killed this boy. I killed this boy. Just like he'd killed Amnon, just like he had killed the other one. The consequences of my sin has done this. That's why, when we sing, I'm going to draw the blank. When we sing Psalm 25, right? Remember not the sins of my youth. Right? Psalm of David. That's the idea. As Papa says, if you want to dance, you got to pay the band. David has paid the band yet again. And so we'll wrap up quickly. We have this rebuke. And it was told Joab, behold, the king weepeth and mourneth for Absalom. So they don't go back in victory. Right? We've delivered the kingdom. And the victory that day was turned into mourning unto all the people. And the people heard say that day how the king was grieved for his son. And the people gat them by stealth that day into the city, as people being ashamed steal away and flee from a battle. He's like, man, we're not celebrating like we've won this victory. It's now become like a loss to us because of the way the king has responded. But the king covered his face, and the king cried with a loud voice, O my son Absalom, O Absalom, my son, my son. And Joab came into the house to the king and said, Thou hast shamed this day the faces of all thy servants, which this day have saved thy life, and the lives of thy sons and of thy daughters, and the lives of thy wives, and the lives of thy concubines, and that thou lovest thine enemy, and hatest thy friends. For thou hast declared this day that thou regardest neither princes nor servants. For this day I perceive that if Absalom had lived, and we had all died, then it had pleased thee well. Now therefore arise, go forth, and speak comfortably unto thy servants. For I swear by the Lord, if thou go not forth, there will not tarry one with thee this night, and that will be worse unto thee than all the evil that befell thee from thy youth until now. Joab didn't hold back. He's like, you would have rather all of us died than this kid. You had better get out there, David, and fix this. Right? Joab's been privy to the... Right? You killed this kid, David. You had better go out there and fix this. Because if all of these people that are loyal to you desert you, what's going to come to you will be worse than anything that's ever happened to you since your youth. And the king arose and sat in the gate, and they told unto all the people, saying, Behold, the king doth sit in the gate. And the people came before the king, for Israel had fled every man to his tent. Now the real kicker is David then demotes Joab. His cousin Amasa, who was the general of Absalom's army, he makes the new general instead of Joab. But what Joab says to David is spot on right here. He's like, you're forgetting all the people who have helped you all this time. The same way that he did in regards to his sin when he killed Uriah the Hittite to begin with. This is a man who had protected him all his life. He's like, don't forget who has kept you here, David. Right? We're instruments of the Lord to protect you. And you'd rather this rebel live. And all of us died. Now those are harsh words to speak to the king. Right? And Joab gets punished for them. But later on, we see Joab rebuke David again when he goes to number all the troops. He says, what are you doing? The Lord adds to the army whatever we need. Why are you numbering us? And so there is a time where you have to really stand up and make a heart and tell somebody you are making a mistake. This is wrong. But you had better be sure. You had better be sure. And you had better proceed with caution. Right? You just can't be all half-cocked. I'm going to do this thing. And the thing is even in this situation, who is Joab looking out for? David. He's not like, hey, this is incredibly disrespectful. He's like, do you understand, David, you are risking a lot by the way you're acting right now. It's not about the men, David. It's about you. I am looking out for you. Because Joab is crazy loyal to David and the stuff that he does. He doesn't care about his cousins. It's all about my Lord the King. Ty, pray for us, and we will be dismissed.